When y'all do events like this, especially if I'm out, y'all gotta big up the stuff that y'all do, because a lot of people aren't doing it.
Right.
You don't really want to play. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't want to be the one that always really talk about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. Money, 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 make you shut your mouth. We'll never ever talk about it if you never had the clout. You don't know what to say, stay up out of my way. Money, 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 make you shut your mouth. Keep playing with this goonies, boy, I'm gonna have to make the call. Stay in bounds on your pivot, boy, if you gon' fall. A lot of niggas be fake, and you really can't play. Cause we done got it out the mud, nigga, what you talking about? Screaming, oh my God, money got me pride. They living a lie, look into my eyes, they might seem surprised. This is homicide. We just multiply, we been on the rise. If we got some wings, fuck it, we gon' have to fly. Money, 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 what I'm talking about. Day in my life, take me a different route. Use all my case, niggas on my face. You can get it right, what you talking about? Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't want to be the one that always really talk about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. You never crossing these borders. I'm whipping it up, Gordon Ramsay. I swear that I'm cooking these orders. Don't talk about me, you better just hope that you can just really afford it. I'm ballin', I'm ballin', I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm feeling like Robert Tahori. Nigga, I'm scoring. I count in the morning. They talk about me, then I gotta ignore it. My bitches be foreign. So independent, my money be corporate. These rappers is boring. You hate me and I'm always gonna adore it. I'm smoking that sorry. She always go ahead and let me explore it. I call her my Dora. You can go talk about me, I ain't flawless. I go put my all in. If a nigga talk about me, then I'm gone in. You know that I'm gone in. Jumping, take trips, Pompeii. All day, always keep 3 stacks like Andre. I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it, man. And you can never, ever, ever get rid of that. So watch what you say, and watch what you do. If you play the game, then you play by the rules. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking.
Yo, okay. What up, what's going on? I got a very, very, very special guest in the house. People that actually put to action, what they saying to do. I got Limelight Management / record label up in here. Alexis, what's going on with you?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Chilling. We got Stephanie in the house. They're actually here making posters to go protest. And then we got a new addition to Limelight.
I am the Gemini goddess.
The Gemini goddess is in the building. So one thing I want to start this off with is, first of all, we're going to wish the Gemini goddess, because she's not going to be here, but her birthday is going to be on Saturday, so she's a fellow Gemini, so we'll wish her a happy birthday.
Woo woo! Happy birthday! Ladies and gentlemen.
Two, Limelight. Oh, let me take the Febreze right off the table.
It's last minute.
So Limelight is, they're seeing the social change and the injustices going on down. they want to do something down here. So they came down here to not only scout some possible areas for them to set up events for people, um, but also to protest. So that's a big salute because it's not like this. It's crazy going on right now, and it's hot. Um, so Alexis, what inspires y'all to take a road trip? Because it's not like y'all live around the corner.
Well, actually, it was the team members that we got together, and it was the team members' idea. Why not show support in something that most people across the nation right now is strongly, there's so many strong opinions in what's going on in today's society right now, and we pretty much agree in the team that we all support the movement and we all support the same cause because, I mean, it is a reality and it is a known fact that there are a lot of injustices done towards the African American community. And I don't want to say this without upsetting anybody, if anybody's like, well, all lives matter, but technically, a lot of the people who are saying that don't realize that some of the people who say all lives matter really don't understand that most of them didn't have to have a movement behind them before their lives actually mattered. Um, so we all came together and decided, what better way to come out and support the community than to actually take that trip to DC, where everything starts, the heart of the community, the heart of the country, DC. So we took the trip and we decided to come out here in the process of some girl bonding time as well. We do have a member of the team, so a new member of the team. So we wanted to bond with her as well, and it is her birthday this weekend. So girl time, and we're supporting a good cause in the process of that.
So the crazy thing is when you bring out the all lives matter. I was just watching a video the other day, and it's like, so when people say all lives matter, it's like just imagine everybody sitting at a table and one guy, and everybody gets a plate of food except for one guy, and he says I'm hungry, and the other person says, well, everybody's hungry, but everybody's eating their food, and he says I'm still hungry, and they reply, well, you know what? Everybody's still hungry, and we're not counting the person that didn't get anything. And so when people don't, granted, all lives does matter. It's just that every time you turn on your TV, it just seems like Black lives don't.
Right.
Um, it's crazy that it has to be a fight for that. Like it shouldn't be a tit for tat situation. It shouldn't be, well, we say Black lives matter, and then someone has to say, oh, well, green lives matter or purple lives matter. It shouldn't be a tit for tat because
So we're not talking about the lives.
I can just tell you now, since I've been alive, the black man has been the most endangered species in America.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy as a person that has godsons and nephews and stuff, you know, I go to sleep in fear of what can happen to them.
Yeah. And
And it's a reality.
it is, and it's I personally can't say that I know exactly every day, but from the people around me, I understand what they go through. I see it for myself, and I have black children, so I mean it doesn't make it any different. Like I can't empathize with the actual African American, but I can empathize. I'm around them. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense, it's just I know personally what I've seen with my own eyes, and at this point, it's the truth. Like it is the truth, that they do go through the most, and most people are going to be like, oh, well, that's not the case. And to me personally, I think it's just people that want to see what they want to see.
Well, a lot of people don't acknowledge their privilege. So when we talk about like white privilege and stuff like that, some people say, well, we're not. And it's when you say things like that, we know that's not true. And there, there's always been a struggle being, especially you got to think about it, at one point we was like one third of a man, three fifths, and so um, no other race had to go through things like this, and it's crazy when you think about that. You know, the right to vote ain't even really that old. Having the right to vote,
Right.
you know, for black people, and the images that you always see of, and we were just talking about this the other day, is that, you know you get the same five people during Black History Month all through from kindergarten to high school. No one tells you about, like, Garrett Morgan, who made the traffic light, because they don't want to show you how powerful that you could be. Like, I was 17 before I found, I think it was just through a BDP song, Boogie Down production song, where I found out literally a black person made the traffic light, something that we use every day. You know, it's crazy when you say that a black man, the same person who made the traffic light, also made the gas mask, but no one talks about that. So, and it's when your history is suppressed, um, and when people say, well, there's a lot of black on black crime, because every time when one of these moments come up, people tend to say, oh, well, what about the black on black crime? Black lives matter. It's not saying anything about the black on black crime. Um, can we deal with the police brutality, because it was just as bad or even worse, because the people that's supposed to protect and serve you are laying down with a knee on your neck for 9 minutes. It only takes 2 minutes to choke somebody out with your forearm.
Right.
9 minutes is intent of this guy's never getting up. You know, over a 200-pound man laying with his knee on your neck for 9 minutes. That's intent of him not to get up, and even if he could get up, he could never talk or anything.
Right. And as a medical professional, that is actually one of pressure points.
Yes.
That's one of your main arteries, is your pressure point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm in the medical field as well, and I was like, well, of all things, that's cutting off your air supply, because that's one of your main arteries, in your neck.
Yes.
That's where when the EMTs
Mm-hmm.
come get you, they check your necks. But
Mm-hmm.
it's yeah, there was no cause for that at all. It's just no
So,
cause for it at all.
how do you feel about, because even in DC, the riots have gotten kind of crazy, um, during the protests and stuff. Do you feel, are you nervous going out there? Do you, what are your thoughts?
A little bit, but at the same time, I don't even really like to mix religion in it. But I know God's got us at the end of the day, and He knows where our heart is at, and He's going to protect us when we come out here in these streets to represent something that we feel so strongly about. So, oh, that's nice. So we feel so strongly about this, situation and this movement, that we were gonna go out here and interact with new people, and hopefully our impact on people can bring something positive to this situation. Sometimes all it takes is a kind word from another person to alleviate certain situations. It's all on how you approach the public, and all on how you speak to people out here. Is sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't, but we just feel like we can make an impact. Yeah, room. Yeah, you can. Here, are you able to?
I'm sorry I'm joining in late, interrupting.
There you go. You got it.
Yeah, what's going? So this is Stephanie, the other half of Limelight.
Well, you got me on live here.
Yeah, I'll move it
Hmm.
this way.
But one, I applaud both y'all efforts, all three of y'all efforts of coming out here, and that ain't an easy decision. To drive literally 4 hours. Understanding you were just, I think, Alexis, you were just in a protest last week with your
Yeah,
daughter,
yeah.
who just graduated.
Shout out to Erica. Yay.
So, definitely that. So, Stephanie, what are your thoughts on this?
Um, when you asked the question earlier, like how do we feel like going out there, and protesting with everything's going on, which and Alexa said nervous. I just want to point out like that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I remember having this conversation about what was going on to matter of fact it was my baby father I was talking to. And he was asking me how did I feel about the situation, and we was kind of I was like, I, you know, Don't care what they doing, burn it down, X, Y. You know, I was really talking, really expressing how I felt. And he was like, it's crazy you think like that because a lot of us men, we think like that. And he was like, you don't understand. If you're leaving a club at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we gotta be on the phone with our family members or with our girls and telling them like, look, I'm on the way home.
Stay on the phone
Nervous.
until
Yeah,
I
stay
get
on the
there.
phone with me until I get there because they're nervous if they get pulled by the police. You know, you don't know what's gonna happen. They might end up in jail or they might end up dead, and then their lives is just not valuable enough for anybody to really take you serious. So he said every time that he leaves a club or he leaves wherever he's at and he's out that late, he feels nervous. It's a nervous feeling. So when he was saying that, I was like, that really bothered me. Like, it's sad that every day you get up, you got to worry about black on black crime. You got to worry about they got to worry about black on black crime. They got to worry about white people doing what they do, and then you got to worry about the police. Like that's three different people that you got to come across in your life. Just in a day that you got to live in fear of. And I said that's so me feeling like I have no feelings. I'm not nervous. I don't have. I'm not scared. I'm not scared because if they got to live like this every day, for me to be uncomfortable for the day, like I'm willing to go through that because it's just not right.
It's crazy because as a black man, I can just tell you one of the worst feelings, even when you haven't done anything, one of the worst feelings in the world is for a police officer to come up behind you, especially in
Hmm.
a car,
And
because you
then if
don't
you
you don't know what's going on. And ever since I was a kid, there's always been stories of police brutality. Um, I tell people all the time, I've been stopped from walking for being black.
Yep.
Like, where you going? What do you mean where I'm going? What did I do? Well, why are you going this way? Or I literally was told on my way to work in work clothes, you just vandalized a 7-Eleven. You are no longer
hmm
coming back here. Hold on, how you gonna tell me this on the street? Like, but this is what happens, and it's the fear of being black. Um, and as a black man, you go through that, and the crazy thing is, now it's just not the fear of being a black man. It's we were just talking earlier. It's the fear of not being able to
being
protect your
raped.
sisters, because now black women names are being added onto that list as well, and it's growing.
Yeah.
It was quite a few. We talk about Sandra Bland, but it's been quite a few black women besides
Maya
Sandra Bland
Hall.
that that have been on the list that have been brutalized and stuff. So it's crazy. Um, what are your thoughts on black women being added to this list too?
Um, I'm not surprised. I'm no angel, so I've run in with the law quite a few times, and I know that when I get pulled or when I'm going through a situation with the police, they automatically think I'm guilty. I'm already guilty
Yeah, because you're
in their
black.
mind because I'm black and I probably had a record back in the day. I'm already did whatever they said that I did. So I experienced this as a black woman too. So that's why I
Mm.
have that mentality like I'm not going to call the police because if I call the police for something, they're going to make it way over the top than what it really is. Or if somebody calls the police on me, I'm automatically guilty. I have to get a lawyer regardless. So I experienced that, and I'm not, and I'm a female, and I experienced that. So even with my experience with the police, it was never a good experience.
Alexa, how you feel having daughters and your daughters are black?
I'm scared for them as well because I know my oldest one can be a handful. The youngest one I kind of fear a little bit more because she's gay as well. So they have it hard as well already to be accepted by the community. But the fact that now she's African American, she has African American bloodline, and it's scary because she's scared, and like I said, it's scary because they got to deal with it too, and even we get scared behind the whole situation. I know several years back, I had an ex of mine that we recently had our house ran in. and they automatically assumed it was him for another crime that was done right down the street. And 7-Eleven. And
We're about to boycott 7-Elevens.
and the situation was that somebody robbed the store and beat the girl up with a crowbar. Mind you, he had went to that 7-Eleven earlier that day after taking my daughter and putting her on a bus stop. But my thing with the city police department is, why would you go back to the same place that you robbed if you did that? But because they feel, and all jokes aside, the gentleman did look like him when it all came down to it, and it was actually a friend of his that had actually gave him his name. So long story short, he was racially profiled, and they did not read him his Miranda rights as well.
Of course not.
They had us in the front yards with guns to our head, and my daughter in the yard. And ever since then, she wasn't really a fan of police officers, and I never was either. My father was actually murdered in October of 1992 by a police officer. So I have my own personal reasons as well. Uh, but I just fear for them, and I fear for my team members.
I mean, it's crazy because when I was growing up, like I remember playing "Fuck the Police" for my mom, and she was like, "What?" and and now that mentality,
It's really embedded.
yeah,
My daughter, my 9-year-old, she was counting one day. I know it's bad for her to be thinking like that, but she's even brought up like she the other not too long ago she was counting and she skipped the number 12, and then she looked over, she said 11, 13, and I said, you forgot 12. She said, no, we don't deal with 12, right, mommy? So that's already embedded in her. So like if we're doing something, I'll be like, do such and such, because the police, like, she one day I caught her on her knees praying, and I said, why? I said, get up, why are you praying? She said, because I don't want the police to pull us over and do something to us. So at a young age, and then the other day she was crying because she'd been watching, like she's all into like watching news and YouTube videos. So the other day she was crying and told her dad, get back in the house because I don't want nothing to happen to you. So like she was really going through, like she was watching what's going on, even we can't keep it from her. She's 9 and she has that mentality like the police is that, and it's sad that they have to be like that because police, we was raised that if something happened, the police were supposed
you're
to
supposed
call.
to call the police.
You're supposed to call the police. Now my own 9-year-old is at the point like I'm not calling the police, but the police gonna do something to my daddy, or they're gonna do something to me or my mommy. So she has that mentality like I'm not dealing with the police either.
It's crazy because someone once said the biggest gang in America is the police.
Yep.
It is.
It's not the Bloods, it's not the Crips, it's the police. And I always wonder about what black cops say when they see these things happen and no one speaks out.
My brother's a cop. Okay, my son wants to be a cop, and my brother been talking to him, and he's at the point. My brother was like, my brother called me and told me, he was like, Stephanie, try to tell him to do something else. Now that I'm in it, I see how things is ran, and I wouldn't want nobody to come into what's really with how it really is. And he don't get out of it because he works so hard to get into it.
Yeah.
But once he see how things really is, he's even like, I don't know if he wants to be a police officer because it comes with a lot of stuff. And I feel like the police officers, I feel like they need to do better training and better evaluating of the police officers that's coming in, because you clearly see when a police officer walk up to your car, he already got that vibe about him, that energy. I'm black, so maybe I feel it a little different. As soon as a police officer comes to the car or talks to you, he already has that like a bully. Like he already has an energy about him, like he's trying to make you feel fear. And you should, and it shouldn't
shouldn't
have to
be.
be like that.
They should be de-escalating the situation and not intimidating on the situation.
And that's what they do. They come
Yeah.
to you and they're intimidating. So
And
they're trying to and some people don't.
yeah, it don't respond well.
They
I
don't
mean,
respond to it.
they'll handcuff you and tell you to shut the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
As if your opinion doesn't matter. The craziest thing is,
Blatantly violate your rights if you don't know.
yeah,
Oh, they do.
the biggest lie that people never understood was when you used to watch TV, they used to tell you that police actually would like shoot the wound, and no, cops are trained to shoot to kill. So with that mentality is when a cop draws his gun on you, you haven't done anything, but he draw his gun on you. His intention is to kill you. You know, um, he's not drawing his gun because he's going to hit you in the arm. Because there's a lot of these situations a flesh wound could have did, but when they draw their gun on you, it's not it's for you're not coming back from it.
I
And
try to, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
but go
what you
ahead.
do is don't do the same. You know, it took me forever. Everybody kept asking me, did you see the video? Did you see the video? And I said, no, I'm not going to look at the video because I feel like stuff like that makes you angry. You know, when you see
Mm,
a white person do something to a black person, it makes you not like white people. Or when you see somebody do something to a Mexican, it makes you not like, you know, whoever doing it, it makes you not like that person. So
yeah,
I said, you know what? I don't want to be filled with that hate and that rage for people. I don't want to see the video. So finally, it got to the point where my son, and he's 14, and he was like, Mom, like it really bothered him, and he's seen the video. So I was like, well, you know what? I want to see what my son's seen. I looked at the video, and it was just like how he like police, they really do that. Like how they treat you even when you're in custody. Like they really treat you like that. Like they do
mm,
not value your life. They do not care, and how they have that arrogant that demeanor
yeah.
about them, like they don't care. Like he just sat there, even when people kept going, like that was so hard to watch, and I really didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to have that. I'm already like I don't like the police. I don't like to deal with the police, but seeing that, it made you feel like there's no coming back from that. Like when having that image of playing in your head, whenever you see a police, you're always gonna think about that image if you're African American. Like
The-
that's an
Black
image
woman,
that's gonna, and as black women, it's
you think of
worse.
Sandra Bland.
yeah.
I don't too much think of her because I didn't actually I seen how the police dealt with her, but I didn't see her die like I've seen that man die, and so it was a little different for me.
That was a lot harder to watch.
And it was yeah, that was very hard to watch. A lot of her was a lot of
Mm,
controversy and all this and all that. People, so I don't really know what happened, and I don't just go by what I hear. I'm the type of person like let me see something. I'm a visual person. So if I would have seen the cops kill her, it would have been a little different than people telling me the cops killed her.
yeah.
When I sat in there and seen that man die and how they act and all the rest of the cops around him,
The
then
nonchalant.
they were so nonchalant, like he was on drugs. They handle every black person like they're either
Like they're handling animals.
like yeah, they handle dogs better than they handle black
Yeah, we
people.
just pulled this dog out of the
They'll
basement.
handle a dog and handle them right than they'll handle a black man, and that's sad that they value a dog's life more than they'll value a black man's life. And,
Yes.
and that was real disturbing because they wouldn't have did that to a dog. If they would have been choking a dog and he would have been hollering and screaming, they would have stopped what they was doing.
So and that's I'm glad you brought up the dog point. It's crazy when you think about like the thing in Central Park, and the lady basically grabbed her phone and said a black man was threatening her. More people were outraged
What she
that
did to that dog.
what she did to the dog
Mm-hmm.
than her using the police as a weapon against a black man.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is crazy to me.
It's
That's
disgusting.
yeah.
It's disgusting.
They treat animals.
It,
Society treat animals better than they treat the black man's lives. So that's why we're where we at today.
Exactly. Shall we bring up the Michael Vick situation? They wanted to fry him.
they did.
They
But
want to.
you,
They did.
well, I mean, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. They didn't
Destroy
even
that
want
man's
him to
life.
go back to the football career and
Even after he paid his debt to society.
right. Same thing
Yeah.
with Colin Kaepernick too. Like he didn't do no violent crime. He just knelt.
He was a black man. That's
Right,
fine
well,
enough.
yeah, exactly. And everybody thought it was the worst thing
When
in the
y'all see
world.
when he was kneeling, the same way he was kneeling is the same way that police officer. So everything. That's why I tell people, no good, nothing that you do go on. Everything comes back
Oh,
in a
you know
full
what? I
circle.
didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Everything
I didn't
comes
even
back
think of that.
because he was kneeling, and that exact thing that he was doing is the exact thing his house. So all this, everything happened.
It came back.
It came right
And
back
it was
around.
kind of
It
like
started with a kneel.
It started with that. It is gonna end with a deal.
Yeah.
So I feel like this last go around is probably going to be like people tired. Like this, I feel like this is really going to be the one.
Yeah, and I feel like our generation of kids are going to be the next generation of the voices. I believe our kids are going to be the ones that's going to change the world because these young ones ain't playing no more. Like she was saying the other day, these young ones they'll quote unquote fuck some shit up. They not playing no more.
Well, it's just imagine growing up and all you living in anger and fear.
Mhm.
Like when I was young, we at least had. I remember police used to come. They used to give you like little football cards and shit like that. And it wasn't until I got older and became a teenager and when crack really started hitting, they started treating me like a nigger.
You know what I don't
And
like, and I'm all for. Like I feel like our generation, the younger generation, we put up with a lot
these young,
from the cops and from white people. We put up a lot. We're a lot passive. Our ancestors, yeah, they fought, they did what they did. But our generation, we're so passive with how things happen. We will protest and we'll do this and we'll talk on Facebook and we'll run our mouth and we do that, but that's all we do. Our generation, we don't really stick up for for ourselves. We really don't. We're not organized. We don't stick up for ourselves. So our the young generation is just out there. Like they know that they look at us like I'm not going to take and stand like my parents did or
yeah,
my peoples did. I'm going to do. So they're out there with no leaders. They out there with this not embedded in their head of how to really handle the situation. So that's where you get in the police, the looting, the running around unorganized. That's where you're getting it from because we instill it into our kids. I shouldn't
yeah,
have to tell my 14-year-old son if the police do such and such, you need to do this, you need to do that. We shouldn't have to tell our kids to do stuff like that. But we are
mhm,
telling our kids to do
yeah,
stuff. We're not telling them to stand up for themselves. We're not telling them because we know it's going to end up in them getting killed.
yeah.
So it's
It's
kind of like a double-edged sword. Like we damn if we do, we damn if we don't.
But these
But I
kids
feel
don't
like
give a damn.
they're
is
angry.
our generation's a little bit more. We're a little bit more passive
Yeah.
with the
I
situation.
mean, these younger generations are more angry, and they're angry because
They watched us be so passive
yeah,
about
just
handling it.
just imagine watching your father get beat by the cop, and then it's televised. Just
Listening to the story of
just
your
just
grandmother.
imagine, you're hearing all this stuff that's televised and thinking, well, what came of these situations? Nothing.
Nothing.
That's what we're
So
watching.
it's like cooking in a pot. It's boiling, and these kids are just angry, and they want to find a voice. They want to find, but right now all they have is rage. Because for the last 6 years, every time you turn on the TV, it's been like a death. A police officer, Trayvon Martin, like something about a young black person or a black man dying or black woman uh, uh, being killed. So all these people are just angry, just angry, and like, how do you deal with like as a mother? How do you deal with the rage in your daughter when she sees these things?
Well, as I said, it first started with the whole situation when my, the house got ran into and my ex's, mind you, I think what they also triggered was he just came home from doing a 14-year bid. He did
So
14
they automatically
years.
thought he was guilty.
They automatically assumed he was guilty because he was trying to get himself back together, whatever it may be. But it was terrifying. You got these AR-15s to your head in the middle of the front yard, and the whole neighborhood is watching you, and they're telling you to shut up. And as I explained to them, me as a mother, then I couldn't protect her at that time. I felt like I couldn't. I couldn't even go get her and comfort her because they have me down, and she's right there beside me, and that's scary because as a mother, I can't protect them. You try to protect them, and us when it comes to our kids, we go all out. We we
Yeah,
we taking lives ourselves when it comes to our kids, and at that particular moment, it was scary for me myself because I couldn't do anything. And think of these parents out here now that can't do anything for their kids or anybody. That it's kind of like being you're stuck. You can't do anything. Once it happens, it's like you just I don't know. It's really kind of indescribable. It's a scary feeling, but and I'm not even African American, but I
but you got kids by African Americans, so
yeah,
you're gonna feel the pain because you know that's part of what's going on.
right. And I'm around and my partners, and that they're like family to me. Anything happen to any of the people that I deal with, I'm gonna feel strongly about it.
Yeah,
So it's scary, you know.
it's
Um, I also wanted to talk about like with the cops. It's not just I guess it's just cops in general. because a lot of people be like, oh, it's the white cops that do such. It's our own kind that does like they did to them kids in Atlanta. I was watching an interview of how they traumatized that
With the
college.
stun guns and stuff.
Yeah, how they
Yeah.
traumatized, and it was black cops that did that. And it just seems like we have hate from within our own race. Like our own race hates us. We have hate within our own race, and we have to deal with other races hating us. So it's like just being an African American,
It's tough.
it is very tough. And I'm not all black, and it is tough for me. So, and I'm a woman. So just being here all together in America, like it's tough. There's a lot of stuff that we have to deal with.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, and like my daughter has like Hispanic, so she's both brown and black. So, but that's a double scare too, and I think it's the one reason why she was out there the other day too. We try to protect them, and she was like, "No, I'm going out there not just for that particular side, but for the other side as well. So I'm going out here to support." And she was like, "Change starts with us." That's when you know you raised a good kid. She feels like she stand up for something she believes in, and she's like, "I'm doing this for everybody, like everybody that in my people." Her words.
Yeah.
Um, and she was out there, in the mix of all of it. It was scary, Dad flipping out and everything, but now he understands why she did it.
And I'm sure he does. It's just I think he's just you know him not being there, and then him not wanting probably her to go through some of the stuff that he went through. You know, I pray that my nephews never have to go through some of the stuff that I did. Like literally getting stopped from walking down the street because I'm black is ridiculous.
But you know what? I want my son. I don't want to protect my son from going through it because when you shelter them and protect them from going through things, they're not going to be prepared for it.
That's true
So
too.
I tell my son like I want you to when you go through things and you come to me and we discuss about how to handle it the next time. I would want him to be out there and protesting and seeing how it really feels. And 'cause I'm just a tough type of person. I'm believing like the whole tough love type of thing. And I believe the way you're going to learn sometimes is through experience. You're going to learn through experience. So I believe sometimes these kids got to be out there and see what's really going on instead of them being hidden behind Instagram and Facebook and just seeing it through that, through them lenses or whatever. It's like sometimes these kids really got to go out here and really see what's going on and really feel what's going on so they know when the situation was, did they ever be in that situation, they know how to handle it. Now that goes to where if you know they out here acting like that and doing a certain type of thing, I try to tell my son, like, don't be out there committing crimes and doing X, Y, Z, because this is
Yeah.
how the police is going to react. So when you out there to act a certain type of way, because this is what's going to happen. So when he's out here seeing what happened and knowing what's going on, he's going to be a little bit more, like, okay, I'm not going to be out here acting a certain type of way out here committing no crimes for the police to sit around and have a reason to pick. The police don't have to have a reason at all to pick up a black man,
Nope.
but don't give them a real reason to actually be out here picking you up or be bothering
And being on their radar.
you. Yeah.
Because it don't take much. It don't take much. So
Mm-hmm.
so after y'all march, y'all do y'all thing here. Where's y'all next stop?
Um, we're gonna actually hit Atlanta area.
So y'all just in all the hot zones.
Oh yeah.
DC, then to Atlanta. I mean,
I like that.
that's really nice over there. Um, so that's what's going on.
What up, what up, what up?
Are your fingers sore yet?
Nope.
Cause
I'm still working.
cause literally she wrote a whole rack of names. Um,
Everybody.
everybody's names, literally.
And I ain't even put all of them on there.
And that's what you were doing while we were doing this podcast, like literally just working and it's beautiful.
Thank you.
So tell a little bit about yourself and introduce. So you're new to the Limelight team.
All right. Well, for those of you who don't know me, which is probably everybody, my name is Jai. I actually, that is my real name. I go by the name Gemini Goddess, and I am the most recent addition to the Limelight family. Um, I'm actually really grateful for my teammates. I haven't been a part of this team for very long, but I can tell you that the energy is sincere, the vision is very clear, and at the end of the day, we all have to walk this journey together, whether we realize it or not. And so, rather than point fingers at one another, rather than blame one another, we are a great example of what you can do when you just look at the talent, you just look at the skill, you just look at the heart. We're all winning, but we all share different experiences that brought us to the same place in time. And this is an extremely historical moment. And I don't know how many people can really wrap their heads around how big this is, but I'm very proud of the generation that is coming after us. I'm very proud of them for being willing to stand up because, truth be told, the system has done its job for us. Okay? The system was designed to oppress us. It was designed to keep us quiet. It was designed to terrorize us. It was designed to antagonize us. And it was designed to basically tell us to shut up, sit down, and take it. And the unfortunate reality of it is that through these fear tactics, through these organizations like police departments around the country, through these various hate crimes that never go punished, through these backhanded attempts to try to present transparency without actually giving transparency, these are the reasons why our children are mad. Okay? I'll give you a prime example. The civil rights movement was nothing more than a historical storyline for most of our children until Trayvon Martin was
True.
killed. Even our younger children couldn't see themselves having to fight the battles and take the stands that their grandparents and their great uncles and their great aunts took until a young child playing in the park named Tamir Rice was shot by the police. These are the stories that brought it home for our children. And in the middle of this, you've got school shootings happening all over the country. They already know that the stories they're being told in the classrooms are lies. Now they can't even feel safe about having to be forced to hear these lies. Put yourself in a 12, I have a 12-year-old and a 19-year-old. And the interesting thing about it is, for them to be only 8 years apart, less than a decade apart, their experiences, their reactions, their personality quirks that are directed to these things that they've seen in their life are very different. My 11-year-old and I, we have conversations, and we've been having these conversations since he came into elementary school. He's just now going into 6th grade. And we've been having conversations like that involve subjects like bulletproof backpacks.
Damn.
you know? Um, Fire drills or emergency drills in the event of a mass shooting.
That's a thing now.
Even when we're going to church, it's like, hey, mom, do you think they're going to replace the ushers with bouncers now? Like, this is their world. And the reality goes even deeper than that, because if you notice, these riots, these protests, they're not just taking place, not just in one city in the United States, not even just in one state in the United States, not even just in the United States. They're going on all over the world. So, and this is more than just other people empathizing with one culture's cause. This is a global system that no matter what language you speak, no matter what flag you live under, you can understand that racism, sexism, socialism, these isms are written into the fabric of the very foundation of the country that you abide in. This is where we are. And I'm going to tell you, if we don't stand up, yes, our children, they're angry. Yes, they're just out here just acting whole children because they're kids. They just tearing up stuff. They just doing stuff. They just want to be seen. They just want to be heard. But as the adults who brought them into this, as the light keepers who are designed and designated with teaching them, it is our responsibility not to tell them to shut up and sit down and take it, but to show them how to constructively and productively consolidate all of their voices so their points can be made and their bodies will not get laid. Because none of us, I don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, blue, purple, brown, when you put your baby in the ground, that pain is universal. And it never goes away. You've got kids out here, not just parents out here that have buried their children, but you've got brothers and sisters out here that have watched their siblings die. I'm sorry, but this is how real it is to me. I am a native of a state whose history is rooted very deeply in Confederate racism. And I get up every day and I acknowledge that I am a proud Southern black woman. And there is something about that phrase, whether in individual words or in its collective, that is guaranteed to piss somebody off. We do not, why should we have to live in fear every day in a country we were forced to help build? It's not that black lives don't matter. It's that they only matter when they can be used as labor.
Whoa.
It's not that brown lives don't matter. It's that brown lives only matter when we can use them for labor and not have to pay them what we're forced to pay our black friends. And it's not that blue lives don't matter, because coming from a family where I have coming from a family where I have law enforcement and government employees that have dedicated their lives to this, understand, yes, you've got some people out here, they've always been here. They're sellouts. They're Uncle Toms. They'll sit quietly. As long as the lash isn't hit upon their back, they will sit quietly and watch you suffer. They've always been there. They'll always be there. But I would like to believe that some of our brothers and sisters who are in law enforcement are not there because they didn't know what was there. They're there so that they can try to help to change the system from the inside. And I want to see those brothers and sisters come from behind that code of blue and acknowledge what you know to be true. And that is this system, not just one jurisdiction, not just one department, not just one office, this entire system of quote unquote justice is screwed. And yes, what are we going to do about it? I asked this question 6 years ago. What is it going to take? How many of us have to go in the ground? How many of us have to be on t-shirts? How many of us have to get out here and turn over somebody else's car we can't afford and set it on fire? Like, how long do we have to do this before we realize this part of the response doesn't work? It doesn't work. And how many times are we going to allow a politician who knows they need our votes? Because, by the way, that's once again when Black Lives Matter.
They need votes.
Okay? How many times are we going to allow a politician to get up on somebody's camera, somebody's stage, somebody's platform, and tell us that they understand how we feel? No, you don't.
They can't.
I don't see you going to work supposedly being happy about making $12.25 an hour when it sounds good, only to realize that 2/3 of your paycheck gets snatched back, and you still gotta ask for food stamps, but you don't qualify because on paper you make too much. Explain to me as a politician how you understand how it feels to me to be a mother of two beautiful brown-skinned souls and think every day, let that fear encompass and encase you to a point where you keep your children in the house. Because you just feel like it's so much against them, you can't even protect them. And to Alexis's point, no mother wants to feel helpless when it comes to protecting her children. And once again, that's not a color issue. That's about character. You've got mothers out here that are angry because their children are hurting. They're asking questions we can't answer because they're the same questions we've been asking. I'm not afraid to tell you I'm mad. I'm not afraid to tell you I'm hurt. But the only thing that I can do is what I can do. And at the end of the day, the only thing that negates hate is love. So with all of that being said, this is why we ask people to show love, show support for our cause and for our vision, because it's not just ours, it's a collective. And all we're doing is we're just doing what we do best. And that is find a way to facilitate an ability for this voice to be heard and this message to be received. We don't want any drama in the streets any more than anybody else does. But we're not gonna sit here and tell you it won't happen. Do you understand? We're not so jaded that we don't see that if you don't figure out a way to get these kids where they can actually speak their truth in a productive, concise manner, they gonna keep tearing your shit up.
They are. They're angry.
They're not gonna go home because you throw a couple of gas bombs at them. Their friends are gonna see it on social media and they're gonna show up too. This is not a time for a test of wills. This is not a pissing match. This is not, oh, well, I have all the power and y'all have to go home. No, we're not doing that, bruh. I know Public Enemy told you that the revolution won't be televised, but I promise you, it will be streamed.
Yeah, it will be.
And that was the thing that I noticed that Donald Trump had threatened to do too. Threatened to take all social media off the airway.
Good luck.
But he can't do that.
No, he can't do that. But yeah, that was the first thing he said. He said because.
No, he just said that because he mad at Jeff Bezos.
He always somewhere blowing smoke. He don't really have no.
He just mad because Twitter.
Power. He always want to throw stuff out there.
Twitter fact checked him, so he got angry.
Yeah, that was the first thing he said. Well, I take social media down because obviously, social media made it a whole lot easier for people to get caught up in the mix of a whole bunch of mess.
What it is that more people can see the truth.
And it made it hard for him to get away from it.
So now we don't have to. We actually know what's going on in Atlanta, and we living in D.C. We actually know what's going on in New York, and we're living in Ohio. The whole thing is, we wouldn't have known what went on with that Minnesota incident with George Floyd probably for months because they would have covered it up. That whole situation that was in Chicago where they had to basically go to court to get the footage of the police officer who stood on top of a car and shot into the car like it was lethal weapon. Took a whole year for it to come to light.
And I want to say something real quick because I was scrolling through Facebook and I seen what Q said. They charged all of them with second degree murder, second degree. Now get off the highway. Like just because these people, the officers got charged, that's no reason. That's our problem. Every time we get what we want, people just stop
We shouldn't get
until the
content.
next situation.
Yeah.
So when he said that, like, what? So just because they got what we want, we're supposed to stop? We still not getting what we want. Y'all still have to go train these officers the proper way. Y'all still need to evaluate some of these officers that y'all have before y'all letting them on the force. Y'all still have to fix the problem of why they're doing what they're doing. That didn't fix the problem. So what? He got charged, but at the end of the day, another one, it got to happen to another one. It's going to happen to another one. So just because they got charged, that shouldn't have been the ending thing. And now we need to stop protesting and we all need to go home because they got charged. That should never been the goal.
Because it's not about them being charged.
It's about
because
them being treated right.
If 4 of them got charged, what about the other people that didn't? Because we can say 4 got charged, but 4 of them in the Freddie Gray situation that happened in Baltimore several years ago walked away.
Nothing.
And no one could tell us how Freddie Gray, who was handcuffed, broke his back.
So I just seen that post and
So
Q's looking at your live. I just think that was just.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I would love any for if I have any if we have any viewers out there, any listeners out there that are actual criminal lawyers, or even some youth that may be in law school. I'm not a lawyer, but if you were to ask me personally, like what I feel like would be a justifiable level of offense or charge for these officers, just the officers. I see this for the officer who was primarily responsible for Mr. Floyd's death, the gentleman who decided to put his knee on the neck of this man. That's a capital offense. Off buck. Ain't no first, second, or third for that. That's capital murder. Okay? And I don't say that lightly because I do not feel that anybody, one way or the other, simply because of your profession or your educational background, has the right to decide who gets to live and die. But the fact and the way and the contempt that you had for this man's life when you took it, that's what should make this a capital offense. Okay? And those other 3 officers that were there, we can discuss second and third degree for them. But yes, you're also facing murder charges, because if somebody robs a bank and you're standing there to witness and you didn't say anything to stop it, that makes you an accessory. And if you go out of the bank with that person and you hand another person any money that was retrieved from that bank, that is called receiving stolen property, and all of which are criminal torts by the United States Department of Justice. So this is what I don't understand. I don't understand where the question comes in, well, how do we charge them? Who do we charge? What do we charge? The answers are all right there. And so, to Stephanie's point, now is not the time for you to get off the bridge and go home. They're starting to give. That's what's happening. If you ever go for a business deal, if you ever sit down at a table, you watch for certain cues that let you know that the person that's sitting on the other side of that deal is starting to break. They are starting to break, but they have not broken
And we
yet.
need to keep on until it stops. Not just because they got charged. It needs to keep going until it stops, period.
Until
we don't have to worry about every time we step out, our kids or our black men step out the house, we got to worry about if they're going to make it back home. That's when we need to stop.
And it's not just about having a black president in the White House, and it's not just about having a black attorney general or a black secretary of state. This system has been placed like this for over 400 years.
True. What people
don't
realize,
it takes to break that down.
Think what I don't realize is that they got charged, but look how long it took for them to get charged.
Thank you.
That's only because of the protest.
That's what needs to be addressed. That police is killing, and they're getting away with what they want to do. They have to stand. They have to.
We had to riot. We had to riot to get these.
So we shouldn't stop because they got charged.
Because and getting charged is still not justice.
No, it's not.
Because
you still may never make it to trial.
You still may, or you may go through trial and and literally still get off.
Well, with people with mindset like him,
And with
that's
the
what they feel. Like, is he
Mm.
got his charge? Oh well, we can just all go home now and act like it
Mm.
didn't happen until it happens again.
And
It
with
shouldn't stop because these officers got charged.
I mean,
and with the attorney general that we have, you can almost count your chickens that these gentlemen will not see justice. Not as long as we have the attorney general in office that we do.
and what people don't realize is that like the politics of lawyers is a whole nother game. When I watched Trial by Media on Netflix, so they talk about the gentleman who was shot 41 times, the African immigrant, and one of the things that his lawyer did was he took the trial from being in the Bronx and moved it to upstate New York, where it was like an all white jury and he would have an easier chance. Like, it's small things like that,
Those loopholes.
those loopholes. Oh, we can't get a fair trial in the Bronx. You shot somebody digging for his keys 41 times and you're worried about a fair trial. So, it's things like that that, just having them charged doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily,
and that's always happened. Once everybody got charged,
it's not necessarily a win.
it's not going to be. It needs to stop altogether. They need to make some
Or
change
here,
within
just
the
throw it
police
over there.
department.
Just put it over there.
That's when we need to be out here protesting. Like, there needs to be some changes within the police department system.
And it's not just one faction or another. Like, what people gotta understand is systematic oppression happens in layers. Okay? And so this is why you have people in these marches and you have people out here protesting that are protesting for change in the education system, not just the legal system. Okay? Because statistically, even though we may see images of our children going to college, statistically, most of them don't complete. And if they do complete with a degree, what do they come out with? Almost what? Anywhere from 70 to almost $200,000 in debt, depending on the school you go to.
Yeah. And even if they don't complete, they still come out in debt.
And then you have the wage situation going on, where you have wage disparity between races and you have wage disparity between genders. So you have a black man who will go out here and get a college degree and will only make 2/3 of what his white counterpart with no educational background does. And then you couple that with, if this black man is married, 9 times out of 10, even though he's not making fair market value, he's still making more than what his wife does just because he's got testosterone. I had to catch that real quick. But you see what I mean? Like, this is systematic. And even down to this whole COVID pandemic, when they got ready to shut down all of these businesses, it wasn't the Wall Streeters that were hurting. It wasn't the CEOs that were hurting. It was the employees of the company. Those same black and brown brothers and sisters that can't afford health insurance, not even under Obamacare, so definitely not under Trump care. Those same brothers and sisters that still gotta go swipe that EBT card because no matter how many hours they work in a week, they still gotta pick between rent, food, clothes, and we not even finna talk about things that are considered luxury like telephone. When do we live in 2020 when a telephone is still considered a luxury? And it is. It
Yeah.
is.
That's true.
We're one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and I don't feel like that's a euphemism. I feel like that is very true.
It's true.
So why are so many of us living below the poverty line? It's not because we're lazy. It's not because we're stupid. It's not because we're dumb and we don't want to work. Hell, we've worked all our existence through the generations. We know how to work. It's because the ball keeps getting pushed. And at this point, there's not even a field.
Man.
You see what I'm saying? At this point, the ball has been carried off by that little kid who caught it during the foul shot, and he's on his way home. This game is over.
Yeah. Pretty much is.
And so, yeah, at the same time, while we're talking about how are we going to change the judicial system, how are we going to change the legal system, how are we going to change how police training is done, we also need to get more black judges. We also need to have more black lawyers. We also need to have more black businessmen. We also need to have more females in this world.
That's true.
And I don't know. I don't know what this looks like at the end. I don't know if it's going to be a black, white, brown, yellow thing, or if it's going to be the year of the woman. I'm rooting for the latter. I'll be honest with you.
We can see that. We can see that. That's cool. So I know y'all gotta get out of here because y'all about to do the protest. Thank y'all all for stopping by. Thank y'all all for y'all message, and I appreciate everything. So, anything you want to say, Alexis?
Yeah, that was deep.
It was very deep.
It had me tearing up a little bit.
Sorry.
No, it's deep. It's deep. You know, my biggest thing is I just hope our biggest thing is just that we can help make an impact in not just the United States but the world. You know, the movement, obviously, you know, our movement. Our team is a powerful team. And we definitely complement each other as far as the way we feel. And I feel like, you know, all of us getting together, I feel like we could go out there and make some type of difference in the communities. You know, our objective and our goal is not just the United States, but hopefully impact the world.
The fact that you're going out there to protest today is showing that showing that you're making an impact. And you know that's something y'all been doing. You know, without the glitz, the glamour, and stuff like that. That's just something that y'all do.
Oh
so.
yeah, you know we ain't got no face on today.
We
raw.
So
you call me without my eyelashes, Rock. We are officially family now.
So it's all good, and I appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate the Limelight being family. I mean, everybody. I got a big bottle of tequila I've been drinking, but I'll finish it.
Share it with me.
I will finish it.
But again, thank you for having us on the show, and you know.
When I look forward to more of these conversations, and as always, you know, as I told people, I want to do like once a month. You know, talk about the artist. I mean, the business side of the business, so that a lot of artists that don't know, because lack of information will always keep you down.
Knowledge is power.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So that is it, and we're about to be out.
Peace, love, and light.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was a dope show.
Sorry, I did not. I really did not.
No, that's you're good.
I was listening to you and Steph, and I was writing those names.
You need to impact people.
And it just kind of like, it was like.
Never apologize for saying something powerful.
True. Like,
I mean, because I can hear it in your voice. Like when you were talking about Erica, like I know that feeling that I'm so angry, but I don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to hold you. I know why you want to fight, because I want to fight you. But who we gonna fight? What we gonna fight? How we gonna fight? You know what I mean? It's just that and I think you grow up and you like a great thing, stuff like this, and you
When you talk about me, when you talk about me, just know it ain't free. When you talk about me, when you talk about me, just keep it low key. My OGs told me to always believe what you always just say. When you talk about me, when you talk about me, you don't really know me. You don't really know me. You don't really know me when you talk about me. You don't really know me. You don't really know me when you talk about me. You don't really know me. You don't really know me when you talk about me. You don't really know me. You don't really know me when you talk about me.
yeah, you know, after
Yeah, I'm the great. All I do is just see a bunch of haters.
after
A lot of people that be talking. Yeah, I do a bunch of favors.
after all these,
I don't need your favors back. I just need all of your prayers. I don't know if I make it back. How the hell I wanna save you? I'm on my grind like a skater.
And just like
I used to
any
chill
parent-
with the mayor. I cannot deal with that bullshit you cater. Hesitant, don't ever fuck with a waiter. Cause I'm just a bitch. That's why I'm sharp as a razor. ways. Stick to that paper, that's the reason I see you later.
You want to be able to. I remember one of my greatest regrets was when Renegade was a baby, and I went to the first Million Man March. I didn't take that with me.
I feel like that right now. That's why we're going to.
So when they did the second Million Man March, he went with me. When he went with me as an adult. But as I go look back, if I could change one thing in time, I was a baby, but I would have taken it. So we can understand. And he has a great understanding, but so that he could really, really bet it in his soul. And because, at the time, his father was locked up. And I debated with myself, and I was like, well, I don't really want to take him. And it turned out to be something special. So, you want to give those kids those opportunities to do something. And if they're angry, they have every right to be angry though.
They do.
They can't get it right, so they blame it on me. And I don't really know why they hating on me. I've been repping my hood faithfully. There ain't really nothing you take from me. I've been on the ground. I just wanna shine. I just wanna get all this money and pay these fucking fines. I ain't got the time just to see you lie. I can respect you cause I can see that boy you really try. It's a cold case when you call 911, then it just goes try to murder. Little homie talking looking for the streets and I ain't never really heard of. Who you think you scared of? What you gonna do when we pull up on the skirt up? Better get your words up, cause I ain't with the talking, I ain't one with the burner. I don't wanna turn up, too straightforward, I don't really throw a curveball. They getting on my nerves, bro. I don't understand, so I sit back and burn up. I just ain't fucking world, bro. I still get love from out the murder. Homie, you can learn up. I just want respect and you never even earn none. When you talk about me, when you talk about me, just know it ain't free. When you talk about me, when you talk about me, just keep it low key. My OGs told me to always believe what you always just say. When you talk about me, when you talk about me, you don't really know me. You don't really know me. You don't really know me when you talk about me. You don't really know me. You don't really know me when you talk about me. You don't really know me. You don't really know me when you talk about me. You don't really know me. You don't really know me when you talk about me.